Hello, and welcome to another episode of Awaken Your Truth. Katie, how are you?
I'm fantastic. I'm so happy to be here with you and all of our listeners today.
Yes. Today, we're going to be talking about our expectations limitations.
I can't wait to dive into this one.
Yeah. Do you have a joyful moment to share? I was going to say to celebrate, but that's
yeah, let's celebrate.
Yeah.
I have so many joyful moments since the last time we've recorded. But the one that felt like pure absolute joy was while I was visiting my family in my hometown, and my little 3-year-old nephew had a family dance class. And my husband does not dance.
Like your nephew was teaching you how to dance?
No, he had a dance class that he was going to.
Oh, okay.
But it was a family dance class. It was a structured thing led by a woman, a very lovely woman, and families could come and just like dance together with some guided instruction. And my husband doesn't dance at all. And I just threw it out to him. I'm like, hey, you want to go to this family dance class? And he said, okay. And then my parents, of course, wanted to go. And my dad is 80 and my mom is just about 80. And so we show up at the class with my sister and my nephew, my husband and my parents, and we're in a circle with some other families and the leaders. And we have so much fun just in the joy of moving our bodies. There were instructions like dance like a pumpkin, dance like the wind, dance like the leaves in the trees. And we were laughing and moving and dancing. And it was the most incredible thing to watch my little nephew, who is pure presence and joy and excitement. And for all of us adults who are probably used to, oh, what do other people think about me? I'm dancing like a pumpkin. How crazy is this? There was none of that. We just released it and we were silly and goofy and dancing. And I had so much joy in my heart for that experience. I was overflowing with just laughter and fun and freedom in my physical body and freedom in seeing those around me feeling the same thing.
Oh, wow. What a gift.
It was really fun.
And for your nephew too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can we just like sidetrack for a second? And will you tell that story about how it's so natural for your nephew to be present? Because I think it's such a powerful example that we learn to not be present.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I was playing with my nephew. We were playing, I think, on a pool table. My parents have a pool table and we were throwing balls around. And I started asking him questions like, how was daycare today? Mm-hmm. And he couldn't even answer it. He's like, no, we play balls. And then we played balls and we were having fun. And then I said, you're going to Disney World soon. Are you excited to go to Disney World? And he just like, he didn't hear me. It didn't process. Right. We were just like in the moment of playing balls. And I had such great awareness of he's not sitting there thinking about going to Disneyland. He's not sitting there thinking about what daycare was like. He is in this moment. And it's almost like he can't even answer the question. Yeah. And I think if he were 4 years old, he might realize, oh, I'm supposed to answer how I feel about going to Disneyland, or I'm supposed to think about my past. But he doesn't know he's supposed to do that in quotes. And he is just present. And I had the awareness of that's who we were as kids. We were little present beings until we learned by society and conditioning and what's normal and right that we're not supposed to be present. And it's so backwards.
Yeah. I can hear this question coming up, so let's just go with it. Okay. It's like, but how do we function in society if we're not thinking about the past and the future?
Well, we are having a physical experience on the planet, and sometimes a little bit of planning is necessary in this world. Mm-hmm. And occasionally looking back to our past allows us to see, oh, that was an interesting choice. It didn't feel so good. Maybe next time I'll make a different choice. Like we have awareness in that sense. But when our mind is wrapped up in the stories about the future and the past, and we are disregarding the present moment, I think that's what we're being called to release, those habitual patterns of being in the future. What if this happens? I got to do this. I got to control this, or stewing about the past. What if I would have done this? I should have done this differently. We're being called to release that and be more present. And so when we're aligned in the present moment, it's so much easier to do a quick little planning session about the future, like when it feels good.
Yeah. So the shift is like, it's not like we are going to stop thinking about the past or future. We're just not going to live there.
Exactly.
And we're not going to be operating through our mind, which loves to live in that past or future. When you said something about your mind being in the past or future, what came was that we're disconnected from the present moment. We're disconnected and we're only experiencing life right now. We only have the capacity to experience life in this present moment. And so if our mind is occupied with the future or past, we're not living fully. We can't. It's not accessible to us.
Right.
And so it's when the question, coming back to the question of how do you operate in society, you operate more fully, more aligned, more connected, more free, more joyous, more in flow when you choose to make presence the path.
Right. Oh, I love this. And I've asked my inner being because my mind was confused about it for a while.
Yeah.
For example, planning a trip. Like I totally know at my core, I could arrive somewhere and just flow from experience to experience, but my mind's not there yet. My belief isn't there yet. So I was asking, like, what do I do about planning a trip? And I just heard the answer, like, when you sit down to plan, like be in the present moment. Here I am. I'm sitting in the moment. Does it feel good to reach out to this Airbnb or this hotel or whatever? Like you're in the present moment while you are planning.
Yes.
And you're taking the actions from the present moment and aligned action.
And exactly aligned action. It makes it all work out so much easier and better.
The flow is incredible.
It's so incredible. I want to share the story about booking a campsite because
wait, is this going to be your joyful moment?
Okay, no. Okay, my joyful moment. Okay, this is really good. So I usually walk our little dog Kaya every evening, and sometimes we like to go on the golf course, which is just like 5 minutes from our house because they're all done playing and it's dusk and the sun is setting and it's on the water and there's wide open spaces and it feels free. And I'm like, this is amazing.
I love it.
I will take my shoes off and just like feel my, ground into the earth, and it's beautiful, soft carpet grass. Anyway, so I had taken her off leash and she kind of like trots away a little bit and we're on this big open field. And she trots away and then she looks back at me. She's like, "Are you coming?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm coming." And so I like went into a little jog, and I have been a little bit not running a lot, even though I love the feeling of it. And in my athletic days, it felt so amazing. And so here I am on the golf course, like full out sprinting with my dog. And she's like you smiling and having the time of her life. And she's looking at me while I'm running. And I'm just like, this is amazing. My body felt alive, like the space, the connection. It was just so much fun. It was pure joy.
I feel that pure joy.
Yeah. That's my joyful moment.
Oh, that's a really good one.
All right. So
let's tell us about the campsite.
Well, let's get back on topic. That can go.
Wait, is it on topic? Is the campsite on topic?
Right. See, that's my mind trying to make sure our listeners are getting what we said they were going to get. So it was really fun. So coming back to planning, we are moving out of our place in like just under a week and into our RV. And so we needed to find a campsite in Florida because we have to stay local for a little while until Lee sells his business. And winter in Florida, so like busy season in Florida, starts about November. So all the campgrounds and RV parks get chock full. And so Leah's like, I don't know how we're going to find a place. And I had just gotten back from the retreat. I was like so grounded in my truth. I'm like, I got this, like, leave this to me. So I called one of the parks and I said, "Do you have anything for a month starting on the 15th?" She was like, oh gosh, no, those were booked out a long time ago. I'm like, okay, no problem. Do you have anything for 2 weeks? Nope, no, just like no answer there. And I'm like, okay, well, how many days do you have starting on the 15th? And she was like, boop, 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 compute. And she's like, oh, what's this? She's like, oh, this wasn't here before. She's like, I have this lakeside campground. It's double wide and it's available for 2 weeks. And I'm like, of course it is. I'll take that, please. She's like, this is so strange. This just wasn't here before. I'm like, okay.
It's so awesome because this does tie into our topic. You had an expectation.
Yes.
But what was your expectation?
That it would work out.
Exactly. That was your expectation. Yeah. It was not we're going to be at this campsite and it has to have this and this and this and this. Like your expectation was wide open and it was a trust that it's going to work out.
Yes.
So that expectation is almost like, ooh, I just trust. I know it's going to work out and I don't have to control the how.
I don't have to figure out anything.
Nothing.
Yes.
So that's a different type of expectation than what I think a lot of us have practiced, especially when first kind of learning about the law of attraction and manifesting. Mm-hmm. In my experience, I know when I started really understanding that, I was setting very rigid goals with maybe timelines and expectations of how something was going to happen and when it was going to happen. And the mind was all tangled up in there, controlling the how.
This is so interesting because you will hear from a lot of teachers that the more specific, the better. I've been for years trying to break that one, but this the claim, like saying and identifying how long, what's the date you're going to accomplish this, how you're going to feel, like all of them, like setting what the experience will be, when, how, before you have it.
Right. Okay. So that is a lot of mind in there.
So are they limitations?
In the instance that you just described, I think so. I feel so, because the mind wants to control the details. Yes. And then we're often living in that place of the future of trying to control the details and trying to get to the goal. And we're not present in understanding, like, I have everything right now. What I really want, like the example you gave, is the trust that everything works out perfectly. And that's it. It's almost like, universe, surprise and delight me. I know everything's going to work out. I can release those super tight, rigid expectations and open to something better than I ever could have imagined flowing through.
Yeah. Do you think what does an expectation mean to you?
Well, it means something different now.
Right.
For me.
Right.
I can share the difference. In the past, it would mean having a certain house or having a certain job or having a certain amount of money. Like expectations felt like things that weren't here yet that I wanted in the future.
Right. And you expected them for yourself. Like you were supposed to have them. It was supposed to be that way.
And when, I did this a lot, when I would get those things, I was going to be happy.
Yeah.
And now expectations have a different meaning. The expectation, the way I live my life, is that I just expect that everything is unfolding perfectly.
Yeah.
And there's no specific goal or object or external thing that I'm trying to achieve.
It feels like the definition or the experience for you shifted from almost trying to make something happen into a knowing that everything is unfolding perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
And
that is
there's,
exactly what it feels like.
it's I like what I feel is the expectation is a certainty now. It's not a what if, it's not I hope.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the certainty allows me to release my mind when it wants to get controlling. And our minds are great for us, but sometimes when we're up in our mind, it doesn't feel good. And that's when I know, like, oh, this is not how I want to create my life.
Right.
Yeah. What would you say is your definition of expectation?
Well, expectation from the mind's perspective feels like almost like something I should have, but it's like an expectation. I don't know. It's like, I know this is coming. That's the difference. The expectation feels like I know this is coming in the future. That's what it used to mean. So like, I guess I could say I expect myself to be successful, except I wouldn't say expect in the past because I didn't know it now.
Right.
So I actually think, okay, or I expect myself to fall in love. I expect myself to live somewhere warm. Like they're all related to my desires of what I wanted, but the expectation is actually the knowing.
Yeah. Yes.
It's the knowing. And so when we expect something, the true experience of expectation is just pure knowing. There's no trying, there's no anything. Like you are in the present, you're acknowledging, I am successful now, I am on my path now, whatever it is. It's not in the future. You know it's unfolding.
You just know it's
It's
unfolding.
the knowing. Yeah.
So where I think expectations become limitations, besides getting in your head and into the future a lot, is when something doesn't turn out the way that your mind expected. It's really disappointing and hard to see the value in what has occurred.
So question.
Yeah.
Are we mixing up the word expectation from what we think should happen? Like wanting, like the desired outcome?
I feel like they're the same thing.
Okay, that's why I asked the definition, because I'm like,
okay. Yeah,
okay,
expectation is what you want to happen. And
okay,
it's like,
okay.
And
cool.
when you're in law of attraction and manifesting, you're like, okay, I expect that what I want to happen will happen.
Got it. Okay. That is so when we approach it that way, I think it's 100% limiting.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Because the mind has an idea of how things can turn out. And when it doesn't follow exactly what your mind wants, then it feels like disappointment, or
it feels like you got it wrong.
You got it wrong.
Yeah, because you're experiencing something different than your mind planned.
Right.
Or you're observing something different. So I think we're talking a lot about expectations of ourself and for our life. Do you want to jump for a second to the expectations we have of others or how the world should be? Because like this comes up a lot in relation. We have expectations of how our students should act, how our family should act, how the person we're dating should act, should.
Yes. The expectation is all about the shoulds, and the should means that there's a right or a wrong way to do things. I love that you just made that like face of like, yes, because we were talking about this before the call, how we're opening and really being called to release all labels of right and wrong, and how what is beyond right and wrong is pure unconditional love. Like there is no right or wrong. And when we have expectations in our relationships, that's judgment that someone else is doing things wrong, and we know the right way to do it.
Yeah, my mind loves that one. It's so powerful to just uncover that. So even if you're listening, just opening to the awareness that when I have an expectation, it's connected to there being a right and a wrong.
Yes, yes. Whoa. Okay.
So when I feel disappointment, that's connected to my mind had an expectation, which means I believe I'm acting from the place that there's a right or wrong. And is that what I believe, or what is my truth in there?
Do you think it's possible for us to have this physical experience on the planet without right or wrong?
100%. Because I think that's the truth.
I do too.
Yeah.
That's the truth of our inner being. That's the truth of source. There's no judgment. There's no right or wrong in source.
Yeah.
Everything is just is.
And, there's another little aspect to this. Like, if you're right, that means someone else is wrong. And that doesn't that doesn't feel good.
It doesn't feel good at all.
Our inner beings are not walking around saying and judging anyone as the wrong path. So as you make yourself right, you're in that same moment making someone else or another path wrong. Actually, I remember saying that to someone. They're like, no, they were just both right and right. And I'm like, okay, that can be true too. True and true. True and true.
True and true.
Yeah.
So when we talk about limitlessness, how do you live your physical life with or without expectations? Like, how would you share that?
I know you asked me a question, but I feel like asking you a question back.
Okay, well, go for it.
So do you, as we're practicing this, like, do you trust your inner being or the universe to take care of the details for you?
Yes, yes, and yes.
Yes. So without that knowing, you will feel the urge and the need and the craving to try to control because there's not the trust there. Like, of course, you're going to try to control an experience to get what you want because there's not the knowing that it is for you.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yes.
So it's like the more trust we have in ourselves and our connection to source, the less expectations we need.
And I would say the less expectations of something specific happening, like an external thing happening in the future. I have expectations, but my expectations are so wide open. I expect, which is like a knowingness. I know that everything is unfolding up perfectly. I expect that everything is an opportunity. I expect that as I continue to expand, there will be more opportunities. And there's no need to control those opportunities. They will come up. What?
But Katie, does that mean I have to give up what I want?
Tell me what you want.
Oh, I'm not asking.
I know. I know you in particular, but this will be a good example.
Okay.
Like, okay, tell me what you want.
I want to get pregnant and have a baby.
Okay. What, and we talk about this as coaches all the time. Like, what is the experience? What are the feelings that are associated with that?
So wait, can we do this? Can we use this as an example to show the differences between old style manifesting and new style manifesting?
I love it. Yes, let's do it.
Okay. So old style would be,
you're going to be pregnant in May. You're going to have, well, go ahead. I don't know. I don't have a vision of pregnancy, so I don't know anything. You tell me.
I love it. Okay. So I've literally done this multiple times.
Okay.
Oh, I'm going to be pregnant by Christmas. It's going to work on the second time. It's going to happen in this way, with this person in this room I'm going to, be eating this. I'm going to be exercising in this way. I like all of the specifications. Like I'm going to have just had a 3-month fast, so my body will be ready.
Okay, so I'm so glad I asked you that, because I got stuck on I'm going to be pregnant in May, and then I'm like, I don't even know what else goes with
Okay,
that.
more details. I'm going to tell my friends this way. I'm going to tell Lee this way. I'll take my pregnancy test and then this will happen. And then I'll tell Katie in this way. And then like detailed.
Wow.
Yeah. And
when your mind is in all those details, what does it feel like?
well, this is the thing with awareness. So this has been an unfolding journey for me over the past couple of years. And my awareness has expanded crazy a lot. And so at the time this was happening, I thought it was the right path. And I thought, this is good. This is excitement. This is what momentum feels like. I'm making things happen. I'm opening the space. So that's a tricky question because I wasn't in the full way that I could be, but I thought I was.
Okay. At the time you thought you were.
Yeah.
Did you have experiences where you had, in your expectation, said, I'm going to be pregnant by this time, and it didn't work out?
Yes. Those were like the biggest openings to release the pain body.
Yeah. So you had those experiences, which were opportunities to release the pain body, because you're like, I'm not an infinite creator. I don't control. Like it's not what I want is not here. It didn't happen.
It didn't happen.
And that feels that I know that feeling,
and
like that feels
felt
icky.
so awful. And you feel like you have no control and you're getting it wrong. And, but this, not this time, but like, this is what I've been practicing the new way to use these as opportunities to release the stuff that's in there that I don't know. So with this awareness that I'm having this very emotional, intense reaction, I know, oh, you're like, there's resistance here. Never mind pain body. You're trying to control this unfolding.
Yeah.
That's why it's so uncomfortable that it didn't match your expectation.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. And your trust right now in the process of pregnancy, if you could share a statement, like, what do you know now about your expectation for pregnancy?
I mean, I know it's happening. I know it's happening. And I know there's nothing for me to control. But the biggest shift, and I just want to reinforce, this has been unfolding for a good year and a half, the trust and the knowingness. Because again, I told myself these words 2 years ago. I know it's happening. I know everything works out. It's all good. And then pain body, bam, bam. And so now, so maybe there's more, maybe there's still more for me to deepen my knowing. But right now I know as deep as I can know it's happening. And because I've developed the awareness, any thought or feeling that comes up along the way that is trying to control, now I'm like, oh, nope, nope, stay here. Like, stay present.
Stay present.
In my presence, I'm creating the perfect unfolding.
We create from the present moment.
Yeah.
And what the details that you shared, the old way, so many of them were projecting a story into the future. This is how I'm going to tell my friend. This is what I'm going to say to Lee. This is how I'm going to do this, blah, blah, blah. Like, you're in your mind in the future instead of your most powerful place of creation. Well, the only place of a creation is the now.
The only place to manifest is in this present moment.
And you have trust. Like, I can feel it. I can see it in your face. I know this energy from you. You have so much trust that it is the perfect unfolding, that you are creating this pregnancy experience with joy and delight. And isn't that the pregnancy experience you want to have?
100%.
Trust, joy, peace, all of that comes from the present moment. and your knowingness that it's all happening.
What would you say is, so we talked about the old way. What would you say is like the new way to manifest? So I want to get pregnant.
Mm-hmm. It has to come from the now. Like the new way is a present knowingness of, I trust that everything is for me, and I trust that the universe is unfolding perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
And I also really know that we're an energetic vibrational universe and beings.
Mm-hmm.
So I would ask you the question, and I'll ask you, like, what are the vibrational emotions in your mind that encompass the experience of pregnancy?
Joy and love.
So do you have joy and love now?
Only ever now.
Now.
That's
so you're just marinating in joy and love and appreciating and bringing awareness to all the joy and love you have right here.
Yeah.
Because then you're not requiring your joy and love to come from something in the future.
Mm-hmm.
It's here right now.
It's here now. There's something else coming from this that I feel like maybe we'll do a whole episode on this at some point, but like the journey, but the new way of manifesting is coming back to the expectations. And do you have to give up what you want? So at no point have I had to give up my desire.
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe we can give up our desires. I think they're innate, and the desire is calling us forward to become on our path. And
do you think your desire is your intentional, individualized learning experience?
yes.
Because you have that desire and that want, this is the opportunity, and you're feeling like that's not here. So this is your learning experience to release the resistant mind through this, because your desire is so inherent.
Yes. The desire is in me. The pull is there.
Yeah.
And I think those parts of us that we feel, those parts of our vision that pull us, are the ones that open us to the most growth within ourselves.
Oh, totally.
Yeah. So you do not have to give up your desire. Mm-hmm. And yeah, in terms of,
I think what I would say though, is that you really take the perspective of, this is a joyous journey in every moment. My desire is not what is going to give me joy, love, and peace. It's about knowing my truth as joy, love, and peace, as I get to have this fun adventure with my desire as like kind of like a guiding light.
Yeah. When you really, really get that it's about the journey. It's about the being in this moment, the experience in this moment, that your life is not going to feel different to you because you have something you want. You really feel the power, and you have that choice come in of like, okay, I'm going to be here now. I'm going to choose this now. I'm going to open to this now, because this is all I have is now. If I'm not going to do it now, it's not happening.
It's so fun. And I love that you use the phrase, like, I'm opening to this, because I think that's one thing that's changed in terms of my manifesting. For example, like, I really like to fly first class. Yeah. And sometimes I buy first class tickets, and usually what happens is that I'm upgraded. And I think the old way would be like me visualizing myself in first class, like maybe even during a meditation or something like that, and expecting that I'm going to be in first class. But if I didn't get there, being disappointed.
This is a great example. Yes.
And now it's more like, oh, universe, I'm open to flying first class, whatever. Like it is, like I'm just open to that. And there's no detachment or attachment to this needing to happen.
So that's so interesting. because you have an expectation. I expect,
but it's almost like I have an expectation because it keeps happening, I guess. But the expectation is more like I'm open universe, like whatever is, but it would be fun. And then I'm not trying to control how
or when
it's going to happen.
Yeah. I think I want to share with our listeners. So if you're listening and you're kind of identifying maybe some of your own expectations or ways you might be limiting your experience, is to just say, how can I be more general about this thing I want? So if I want to fly first class, how can I have an expectation that is just more general than the exact flight it should happen in an exact way? So maybe it's something like, I expect to be delighted. I expect to be surprised.
I love that feeling. I expect to be surprised and delighted.
Even just like, I expect to feel good is a great one.
Yeah.
Because that's
I expect to feel good.
Yeah. That is like our inner being is like, yes, 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 all day long.
Oh, that's fun. And creating this way just feels easy and light and delightful, because the resistance of the mind trying to control things and like, oh, this little thing didn't happen, so that means that's not going to happen. And now I have to readjust and try to control this way. Like that feels so icky and overwhelming, and also not grounded in the present moment truth. Of everything is unfolding perfectly.
Life is so much easier when we are connected to our truth, when we're grounded in our truth. And fun and joy.
And fun.
Anything else, Katie, you want to share?
So just a final statement. Are expectations limitations? If I could summarize how I feel about that, is when we have a rigid expectation that we are counting on for our joy, love, and peace, and we are wrapped up in the details and our mind is trying to control, then it feels like a limitation. When our expectation is grounded in the idea that everything is working out and I trust the perfect unfolding, it feels limitless, and it creates the space for source to flow through and surprise and delight us.
And how you feel now will be the unfolding,
because it's only now from which we create. And how do you want to create now? Do you want to create from the mind trying to control, or do you want to create from your joy, love, and peace?
Limitlessness. That's the word that keeps coming. Yeah.
Woo. Yeah. Do you have any last thoughts about that?
That's beautiful.
I feel super limitless right now.
Yeah, I'm feeling very open and
me too,
creative, and watch out.
I wonder what we just created, just sharing this energy and talking about it, feeling it.
We can't wait to hear what you guys have to share with us. Share any joyful moments. Visit awakenyourtruth.love. We'd love to hear from you, and we'll see you guys next time.
Yeah, thanks for being with us. Thanks for sharing this space.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye.